If I could go back in time and sit across from my 20-year-old self, I wouldn't tell him to hustle harder. I wouldn't tell him to chase money blindly. And I definitely wouldn't tell him to memorize stock tickers or time the market. No, I'd tell him to slow down, think long-term, and most importantly, get the basics right. Because when it comes to money, your 20s aren't about perfection. They're about direction. And in today's video, I'm going to share exactly what I would do differently if I were 20 again, financially speaking. Some of these lessons cost me time. Some cost me money. And some cost me peace of mind. But you? You don't have to make the same mistakes. Let's get into it. 1. I would stop trying to look rich. At 20, I thought success meant looking successful. Designer sneakers. The newest phone. Fancy nights out. You know the drill. But here's the truth I learned too late: looking rich is the fastest way to stay broke. In my 20s, I cared too much about appearances and not enough about building substance. I was chasing validation instead of value. And it's not just me. In the US, UK, and Canada, there's a whole culture built around consumerism. Buy now, pay later. You only live once. Treat yourself. But here's the harsh reality. The people who are actually wealthy, they're not flexing, they're strategizing. If I could go back, I'd stop trying to impress strangers and start working on impressing my future self. 2. I would learn the power of enough. In your 20s, it's easy to get caught up in chasing more. More money, more status, more stuff. But the concept that changed everything for me was this: more isn't better. Enough is. Enough means you're not living in scarcity, but you're not trapped by greed either. When you understand what enough looks like for you, you can stop the endless chase and start focusing on building freedom. If I could go back, I'd spend less time running on the hedonic treadmill, and more time defining what I actually value. 3. I would start investing early, even small amounts. I used to think investing was for rich people. So I waited. Big mistake. The truth is, time is more powerful than money when you're investing. Compound growth doesn't care if you're starting with $50 or $5,000. It cares about how long you leave it alone. Even if I could have only invested $10 a week in my early 20s, that habit alone would have changed everything. It's not about picking the perfect stock or chasing crazy returns. It's about consistency. It's about building the muscle of delayed gratification. I'd go back and start with index funds, ETFs, whatever gave me broad exposure and peace of mind. No FOMO, no stress, just slow, steady growth. 4. I'd get obsessed with my savings rate. Here's something I never understood in my 20s. Your savings rate is more important than your income. I used to focus so much on how much I was earning, but I never looked at how much I was actually keeping. Someone earning $40,000 but saving 30% is building wealth faster than someone earning $100,000 and saving 5%. If I could rewind the clock, I'd prioritize growing that gap, the space between my income and my expenses. Because that gap? That's where freedom lives. That's where options are born. That's how you buy back your time. 5. I'd stop thinking I had to figure it all out alone. In my early 20s, I was too proud to ask for help. I thought asking questions made me look weak. I thought figuring it out on my own was something to be proud of. But honestly, that mindset slowed me down. If I could go back, I'd seek mentors sooner. I'd read more books. I'd listen to people who had the results I wanted. Because no matter how smart or hardworking you are, you can't afford to learn every lesson the hard way. Someone else has already walked the path. Your job is to learn from their mistakes, so you don't have to repeat them. 6. I'd stop overvaluing job titles. Back then, I thought climbing the corporate ladder was the only way to make it. But titles don't build wealth. Skills do. I spent too long in roles that looked good on LinkedIn, but didn't actually teach me anything valuable. If I could do it over, I'd focus on high-leverage skills, like communication, digital marketing, coding, sales, and strategy. Skills that compound over time and make you recession-proof. In today's world, especially in the US, UK, and Australia, having a shiny job title means nothing if you don't have transferable skills. 7. I'd build multiple streams of income early. In my 20s, I was fully dependent on a single paycheck. One employer. One source of income. One mistake away from panic. What I didn't realize then is that multiple income streams equals financial security. If I could go back, I'd start freelancing earlier. I'd explore remote work. I'd build digital assets. Not to get rich overnight, but to build resilience. Today, with the gig economy, online tools, and platforms, you don't need to wait 10 years to start earning extra. If I were 20 again, I'd plant those seeds immediately. 8. I'd build an emergency fund, no matter what. This one seems boring. But it's not. Not having an emergency fund cost me more than just money, it cost me peace of mind. When unexpected expenses hit, and they always do, it throws everything off. An emergency fund isn't just about covering car repairs or medical bills. It's about having options when life gets hard. If I could go back, I'd make my first goal to save 3 to 6 months of expenses. Before investing. Before upgrading my lifestyle. Before anything else. 9. I'd avoid lifestyle creep like the plague. Every time I earned more in my 20s, I spent more. Raise at work? Let's upgrade the apartment. Bonus check? New phone and a vacation. And just like that, I was making more, but saving the same. This is called lifestyle creep, and it's a trap. If I could go back, I'd anchor my lifestyle a few levels below my income, and use the extra cash to buy freedom, not furniture. The goal isn't to live like a monk. It's to spend with intention, not impulse. 10. I'd be more patient. At 20, I wanted everything fast. Fast money, fast success, fast results. But real wealth? It's slow. It's boring. And it's built on consistency. The people who get rich quick usually lose it just as fast. The ones who build slow and steady, they stay rich. If I could go back, I'd stop chasing shortcuts. I'd stop comparing myself to people online. And I'd start trusting the process. Because success isn't a straight line. It's messy, it's nonlinear. But if you stay focused, you win. 11. I'd pay more attention to my mental health. This might not sound like financial advice, but it absolutely is. When your mental health is suffering, you make worse financial decisions. You procrastinate. You impulse spend. You lose focus. In my 20s, I ignored burnout. I worked non-stop. But I didn't realize that sustainable success needs rest. If I could go back, I'd prioritize sleep, exercise, and therapy, just like I would budgeting or investing. Because your mind? That's your most valuable asset? 12. I'd redefine what rich means. Back then, I thought being rich meant having millions in the bank. But now, rich means freedom. Rich means waking up without anxiety. Rich means doing work you believe in. Rich means time, energy, and choice. If I could go back, I'd stop chasing a number, and start building a life I actually wanted to live. If you're in your 20s right now, here's what I want you to know. You don't have to be perfect. You don't need to have it all figured out. But if you start with intention, stay consistent, and learn from the mistakes of others, you will be light years ahead of where most people end up. And even if you've made some missteps already, so what? That's part of the journey. The key is to learn, adjust, and move forward. I can't go back in time, but maybe, just maybe, you can go forward a little wiser, a little faster, and a lot more confident. If this resonated with you, make sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And tell me in the comments, What's one financial decision you'd make differently today?